Hey guys, welcome to the channel, welcome to the vlog, Car Connections. Make sure you subscribe, your notification buttons. Just a quickie. So Tesla Model 3 is gone and I got a new car to replace it. And it's a 2013 Camaro ZL1, one owner, about 30,000 miles. Just want to provide a quick update on that real quick. Before I even do that and start to add additional layers as to why, I thought about getting rid of the Tesla, getting the Camaro ZL1. You guys saw right now me taking delivery of the car. I wanted to share some insight for some of you young guys out there, or maybe some of you older folks too, some old geezers, around when buying a used car, some of the things you can do to protect yourself from potentially, not all the time, but potentially, buying a vehicle that maybe has had an accident in the past, or maybe is a car that was flooded in the past, or whatever issues that car could have had in the past. Because one thing I'm going to tell you guys right now, you cannot always trust the Carfax on a vehicle. Just trust me on that. There's a lot of ways people can get things fixed on a car if it was in an accident without reporting it, and that way Carfax never knows of it. And there's a lot of old school tricks of the game, and this is just to give you that extra layer of peace when buying something that's extremely expensive. It's the second highest purchase anybody's ever going to make besides a home. Now, I think the first step you should do, and I did it with this Camaro ZL1 1LE, I think the first thing you should do is, of course, look at the Carfax. If the dealership's going to offer you the Carfax, look at the damn Carfax. It's free. Are most things reported? Yeah, but a lot of times they're not. And so the first thing you probably want to do after you've looked at the Carfax and you see that as you're reading the history of the car, you're seeing, certain things, right? Was the car maintained? So like maybe every 3 to 6 months, you're seeing that there's an oil change done to the car. Maybe every couple of years, maybe 2-3 years, once a car has hit a certain mileage, maybe 30,000 miles, you're seeing that they took it to a shop and new tires were put on and mounted. You get these ingredients in a Carfax that tells a story around the journey of the car you're buying. It's not just looking at the car to make sure there isn't an accident. It's also making sure, again, that you're buying something that was well maintained. And that's where the Carfax can really play a big factor. But again, it doesn't tell you a lot around, has a car had any type of history specific, again, to accidents. It can tell you a lot, but sometimes it doesn't tell you anything. So after you've done that and you've looked at the history and the record tends to line up, you don't see it where all of a sudden the mileage on the car, on year 8, it was 30,000, and then on year 10, it's reported a new mileage of 20,000, right? So how the hell did the mileage roll back? Right? And typically Carfax will call that out. They'll say, hey, it looks like the mileage potentially were tampered on this car. And that would be a red flag, right? You wouldn't want to buy a car that's advertising 30,000 miles when the reality the car had 50,000 miles or 80,000 miles. And there's a lot of people that play that game, especially on older vehicles. It's a little bit more difficult on newer vehicles, but it can still be done. So again, you've pulled the Carfax. You looked at the data. It tells a story around the car. The next thing I would recommend, and this is something that I don't know if a lot of people do it, and it's not top secret, but I'm going to tell you what I do, especially buying a used car like the 2013 Camaro ZL1 that you just saw on my vlog. It had only 31,000 miles, guys, virtually brand new. But the next thing you can do real quick is get a copy of that VIN and go on Google and do a search of the VIN. And sometimes when you do that, what you're going to notice, you might see that the car was already posted for sale elsewhere at a different dealership. And it would be nice to know what the price of the car was maybe, right? But the other important piece that a lot of people don't check is check for images under Google. So when you put in the VIN, check for images and see if the car shows up with pictures. And it's been proven in my lifetime that sometimes you might see that the car was actually sold at auction and that the car had a, front collision or rear collision or side collision in the pictures, and it's your car. But again, none of that was reported, and they fixed it all up. They wasn't reported to Carfax, and you're buying literally a wrecked car, right? It can tell you a whole other layer, specifically when it comes to used cars, right? For new cars, I mean, there's not really much to do. The car is new. One of the last things I think I would recommend for you guys to do, besides the things I just shared with you guys, is run a VIN check. And sometimes what you'll notice, specifically around cars that are performance-related cars that have a niche. If it's your regular Honda Accord, Toyota, you're typically not going to get this. But typically cars like the Camaros, especially the top-end ZL1, 1LEs, a lot of these guys are enthusiasts of these specific cars, including Dodge and you name them, right? Ford. A lot of these guys are buying these cars, especially these type of sports cars, are enthusiasts of the brand. And what they will do sometimes is they will vlog about their cars on these online forums. I'll give you an example that I experienced on the Camaro ZL1. I did all the searches I did. I checked images. Sure enough, the car, no issues. Carfax clean. I checked the VIN, no images of the car ever being sold or totaled. I went through the whole due diligence on the car. But the other thing is, as I was searching the VIN, I found out that this guy had posted his VIN because he was doing some modifications on the car. He had taken delivery about 9 years of the car, and he posted it on a Camaro forum, which is called Camaro5.com. And I saw the VIN on there, and I used to be a Camaro 5 forum member. And so I went in there, and looked at his post. Well, what kind of post has this guy put on these, forums? If you start seeing a guy that starts putting on the forum, took it to the track this weekend, rent nines, did all these modifications and blah, 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 took her on the track this weekend again, me and my buddy, and we ran her down the pipe and we did good in the quarter mile. It's up to you if you want to buy that car, right? Because just because a car has very low mileage, it could be very used mileage. In other words, it might be a weekend car, but that weekend car they're having some time at the track with the car. And so those 30,000 miles might be low, but they're brutal miles. These aren't highway miles or where the car's been parked and you're only using the car on the weekend. So again, looking at that VIN and looking at the history as to what people will post, because people will post stuff on the VIN, and you find the user that made that post, and then look at all the posts that user has made within the forum, because you're part of the forum, and you can see everything that he's been doing to the car. And sure enough, one of the things I found on this specific car within the forum was a couple of modifications. Nothing to the engine, nothing to the car. It looks based on the things he was posting, this person that owned the car. Nothing crazy. The modifications were around updating the Bose sound system. And so he added an amp and a hideaway speaker in the back of the Camaro ZL1. But again, these are things that you as an owner, if you didn't do this type of level of research, you would have never found, right? So imagine if it was the opposite. Let's say you would have found some shit, right? Took the car to the drag strip and broke the differential and had to... You're buying this car from, say, Carvana with 30,000 miles. You don't even know that the car's differential has ever been replaced. But it looks stock. And in Carfax, it looks good, right? So you just... there's a whole other story. Now, the other thing I did, which I think is important, again, if you can get this level of intel, specifically on top performance cars, try to get a hold of the owner, which is what I did. So it's a one owner car, the ZL1. And what I did is, after doing all the due diligence I just kind of shared with you guys, is I reached out to him directly through the Camaro 5 forum and pinged him and said, hey man, just wanted to check in real quick. Hey, I'm buying your car. I think you used to own this car, the Camaro ZL1. Just wanted to know if there was any issues I might encounter. I could see that you sold it. Anything you could share, man, that I'm getting myself into before I buy the car would be fantastic, dude. Please let me know. Thank you so much, blah, 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 right? Sure enough, like 4 days later, the guy responds, hey, like, man, congratulations. Yeah, I owned the car, had no issues with the car. You know, car's never left me behind. The car was pretty much a weakener. This is the stuff the guy shared with me. Again, you're not going to get that level of intel from Carfax, guys. You're just not. And don't just trust Carfax. Again, you see the layers that I'm going into, especially if I'm going to spend this type of money on a used car. I want to make sure that the money I'm going to spend, you know, is real and I'm getting an honest car. And Carfax doesn't tell you the whole story. And so again, he shared all this stuff, and then he also then shared something like, which was pretty cool. He's like, behind the carpet on the rear of the trunk, if you open it up, you'll see an amp there that I installed, unless Carvana had removed it and saw it. But again, these are just things that you as an owner wouldn't even know, but because I, you know, reached out to the guy because I found the VIN and I found all the stuff that he had been posting on the car, I know that the car's now coming with an optional, you know, amp that only needs a speaker to the radio system. So again, all I'm saying with all this, guys, and I just went through several scenarios, that when you're buying a used vehicle, don't take Carfax or these other type of, you know, history checking, you know, companies. Don't take that for what it is. It's not the holy grail. And I'm just telling you, it's not. And so you need to do your own due diligence at time. And if you can't find anything like the example I just gave you, then, you know, you at that point take on the risk of buying a used vehicle. I mean, the good thing, if you want to call it from Carvana, if there's any value in it, buying a car from them, they allow you to buy the car. You literally can try it out for 7 days. And if the car is not what you expected, you send the car back. And there's no issues. There's no money you have to pay for it. So that's pretty neat. You know, some people might get the car and there might not be mechanically sound. And what they might probably do is go get a pre-inspection of the car. Go take it to a Chevy dealership. Have them put them on the lifter. Look at the bearings. Look at the, you know, the wheels. Look at the brakes. Make sure everything's working. Make sure all the brakes are working. Make sure that the tail lights are working. That the you know, if you have a power sunroof, windows, you know, they can do all that and hit all those check boxes to make you feel better about your purchase within that 7 days that Carvana's given you to feel good about your purchase. And if you find shit in it, then it gives you that out, which is good. But the reality is, a lot of dealerships that sell used cars don't give you that. The minute you sign that dotted line on that day and you leave, right, that car is yours, and the responsibility or any issues with that car are your responsibilities. That's why they put car sold as is. So I hope this helped. And just to finish up the story, I saw the car come in. You guys see it in my vlog. I actually didn't end up keeping the car. And the reason why is, as they were unloading the car, the girl that was unloading the car, she literally pulled the whole front chin of the car, literally almost popped it out. Like, almost popped it, and I could hear that she's dragging it down. Like, you can hear like it's rubbing. Maybe I caught it in the video, I'm not sure. But then there was other things. I started looking at the car. I looked at the front rotors, and there was a real thick lip around the edge of the rotor. So the rotors in the front were very kind of wobbly. And then as you got to the edge of it, there was a big thick lip where you could tell the brakes were being punched hard in. And this was on all 4 rotors. And then the good thing is that it actually rained the night before the car was delivered to me. And when I opened up the truck, there was a huge wet spot in the inside of the trunk. So it could be that the seal was broken or whatever. And, you know, I didn't start feeling good about the purchase. You know, and I started getting cold feet. And I just told the lady, I said, you know what, you can just load her back up. I've changed my mind. I'm not gonna fall through with the purchase after all, right? But that's what ended up happening. So I don't have the Camaro ZL1. I thought I would do a quick review on it, but I wanted to give it an update on, I didn't take delivery. I still have my Tesla. Pretty much it. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I know it's fairly long, but I think there's a lot of good advice in here for some of you guys that don't buy cars as often as someone like I do, and you just get to learn a lot around your purchase decision. So hit a thumbs up, turn on your notification button. I don't post a lot, guys. I do this when it comes to my brain. Hope you guys enjoyed that. Peace out. Car Connections.